Good afternoon. My name is Scott Forcino. I'm an associate broker with Real Brokerage in the New York City metro area. I founded PlugIntro so that I could meet more people and help others meet who they should know in the real estate industry. I had the good fortune of meeting Christine Nargi through Zeke Samples, a mortgage professional in the Orlando area. And we want to hear today from Christine how she's handled her career, how she's assisted others, and what she thinks we're doing in 2023 and how clients can gain. So good afternoon, Christine.
Hello, how are you?
Great. We're now in middle of April, 2023. Could you let us know what you've seen and so far this year, what you also forecast, and also let us know about yourself. How long have you been in the business?
About 4.5 years.
Okay.
The market's a little weird here in Florida, at least for the Apollo Beach area where I mostly focus my time and efforts. It's a little up and down. Obviously, the market is still strong. Home prices are still increasing, but the sales prices are decreasing. Like the home values are increasing, but the sales are decreasing. Buyers are no longer willing to pay over asking, get rid of the escalation clauses or the appraisals. They're still doing all of that now. Again, they're actually doing home inspections. They're asking for closing costs or sellers concessions to buy down for closing costs.
Great idea.
Yeah. So, it's a better market for the buyers now than it was. It's not we're still kind of like sitting on a fence market. Sellers are getting some things, buyers are getting some things. Not everybody's extremely happy. So they're both losing some things, so they're both happy. It kind of works out for everybody in a weird situation. So I set the expectations with my sellers. Here's where your home is priced at, where I can support comps for appraisals, where I can, argue for that price with buyer's agents, with appraisers, with lenders. I still have to convince sellers we're not in the COVID market. That's gone, never coming back. Like erase that from your memory because everybody believes that that's still here and it's not. So, that's a struggle by itself, is setting the expectations with the sellers that they think their house is worth more, and everybody gets emotionally attached to their home. I completely understand that. When we tried to sell our house in Northern Virginia, we thought it was worth more. It didn't sell. The market crashed. Well, we lost 2 houses. So, I understand the emotional aspect of that, but it's my job to set expectations, keep them as realistic as possible, and set them up for success. Because if they don't listen, I can't set them up for success. It's going to fail because nobody's going to buy a house that won't appraise, that they feel is definitely overvalued or overpriced. So those are some of the challenges that a lot of agents and people are dealing with right now. Our market has picked up a little. We have more homes now than we did 3 months ago, 6 months ago. So we're definitely getting more homes on the market. They're definitely staying on the market longer than during COVID. I'm telling my clients, expect to be on the market for about 60 days, up to 60 days before they go under contract. I've been lucky. I've had them go under contract 30, 45 days, sometimes 5 or 7. It just depends on the price point and what the buyer is actually looking for and how well the home is staged, if there's upgrades, the quality of the home, the neighborhood, if there's a neighborhood. There's just so many variables. And in Apollo Beach, we have so much to offer so many different people because we're on the water. We're on Tampa Bay. So you can get, like in the community where I live in Mira Bay, we have canal homes, lagoon homes, on water, off water, villas, townhomes. So we have such a range of products for people to look at. You just have to make sure that they're priced appropriately. And that was a really long answer. I'm sorry.
Don't be at all. You gave us so much information. You told us why Apollo is a great place to be based on your 12-month, lifestyle. You gave us an idea of what buyers and sellers should expect. I know that there are some sellers still drunk on 2021, 2022 values.
Yes.
I always wonder this, though, because rates have gone down consistently about 5 or 6 weeks in a row. It makes, to me, a more of a balanced market where, yes, there are buyers asking for more things or maybe have more negotiating power, but there's also more buyers than there were during the bad old days of not too long ago. So
Sure.
sellers are strong too.
True.
It seems more balanced. My question is, when a seller sells a house, and yes, they have equity, they must be balancing the fact that they'll have some equity against the rates they'll experience. Because let's say they have a low rate, now they're going into a high rate when they sell.
Correct. Yeah, and that's a struggle for some of my sellers that want to sell because they want to downsize or move closer to grandchildren, and they can't justify going from, a 3% interest rate to 6.5 or 5 or 6. And that's when I actually, I give them Zeke's information and I say, look, I'm not the mortgage person. I do the real estate. He does the mortgage stuff. Call him. Let's have a conversation with Zeke. He will give you all the information you need so you can make an informed decision. Because I'm all about information is power, and information is also free. So it's always been, since I moved here, it's always been my passion to help other people. So that's why I got into real estate, is to help others. I was helping neighbors in the community when I moved in because my husband and I are so active in the neighborhood that we know an awful lot. Some people say that we know everything. We don't know everything, but we know more than the average person because we're so involved. So I always want to give people information when I have a listing. And if the buyers that are coming to see my client's house, if they're not interested in that house, but they're interested in Mira Bay, well, then I share Mira Bay with them because I love Mira Bay. I live and love Mira Bay. To me, this is paradise. I'm never moving. So I make sure that the buyers that want to move in Mira Bay, the buyer's agents, they have the correct information to make an informed decision. A lot of buyer's agents come in here with misinformation from years ago, just falsehoods, whatever. And I always correct them because the truth is the truth no matter how you tell it. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows the truth and can be informed.
Yeah, I like that. Well, you're a real local resource and a professional where maybe I'd ask you the best restaurants or even the professionals or the tradesmen improve the house. There's a lot more value than just turning the doorknob of a house. You both know that. There's, of course,
Yes.
Your knowledge of the market is paramount. That really would guide someone in their negotiation, or even see if they're serious about the area at all. They may not have any appreciation for it.
Right. Yep. No, I completely agree. I mean, I spent a lot of time, correcting the misinformation about Mira Bay and or Apollo Beach or Tampa. I mean, I have a buyer that I'm working with right now that he lives in Maryland, and he's like, Christine, I love your area, but I don't want to live on the water because I'm worried about the tropical storms and the hurricanes. And I was like, it's not necessarily where you live in Florida. It's the path of the storm. Because if you live in Apollo Beach and the storm, unfortunately, like Ian, went south of us, it didn't matter that we were on the water here. It didn't hit us. Like when Irma came through, a bunch of neighbors and we went to a townhome for a friend in Brandon. I should have stayed home because Irma pulled the water out of Tampa Bay. Apollo Beach, Mira Bay didn't lose internet or power. We lost power in Brandon, had no power, no internet. The streets were flooded. It's the path of the storm. So I had to educate him on that because there's so much fear about, oh my gosh, moving to Florida and hurricanes and we're going to drown and everybody's going to die. And that's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's the path of the storm because some people had more damage in Orlando from the hurricanes than we did. And I'm on the water.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's really what I call nuanced information, and they need that help. It's powerful, and that's something that there really is there's no substitute. You can't go to Zillow for that type of information.
No, you can't.
And you got to be really committed. So tell me this: what's a great source of business for you? Referrals from past clients or other referral sources?
It's referrals and past clients mostly. I mean, I'm starting to get into some lead generation because I want to expand a little bit more. I have some lofty goals coming up in the next few years. So most of it is referrals, a lot of clients, a lot of Mira Bay residents. My client from Maryland, one of his friends that lives in Mira Bay referred me to him. So it's a lot of that because I'm very passionate about protecting my neighbors, my friends, and my community.
Makes sense. Sure. my problem, and even in New York and my metro areas, I always needed more people to speak to, and I wanted to have more to offer them other than my services. When
Right.
you offer just your services, you're competing with everyone else who is as good or maybe even better than you. I put together this platform for myself to have the locals enjoy the benefit of meeting each other, gaining some exposure, getting some introductions so they benefit as well. Now I'm not really trying to attract attention. I'm earning their attention because they know that these benefits come through me. And I'm really proud that you seize the opportunity in your area to empower local professionals to gain, to have reach new markets, gain introductions to people they never would have otherwise known. Plus, it's a great idea to offer something of a benefit to others instead of asking, give instead of ask. That
True.
means that you really stand out. And the goal here with a platform such as PlugIntro is to cultivate reciprocity, give people something that they can use so that they're really always going to stay connected to you. And I'm glad that you took this opportunity. And I will tell you, for the people listening, and Christine's done a great job of offering an immediate, strong benefit, and that really will set you apart because other realtors don't do this. I mean, if there are great realtors in your area. I'm sure you
Oh,
know that.
absolutely.
However,
Absolutely.
however, business opportunities come through you. So all things being equal, it's better to work with you because of the community and the advantage gained from being a colleague of yours.
And I mean, the benefit, I mean, really is because I go from, I work with people that I know and trust. Okay. I'm not a big fan of strangers, as it were, considering I'm in real estate, but I go with know and trust. And when I work with clients and vendors and businesses that I know and trust, I promote them and I support them. Like I give, I have, for real estate, you have to give a minimum of 3, as far as I'm concerned, just to stay ethical. So I give all of my clients, okay, here's 3 roofers, but I know who I've personally used. So the people that I've personally used on my home that do my homeowner's insurance, my auto insurance, my roof, my windows, my paint, I refer those people personally to, because I know and trust them. If they're going to take good care of me, then I know they're going to take care of my clients. And if they don't, well, then they know that they have to answer to me.
Sure.
So that's why there's so many people already in the PlugIntro platform that you created for us on Facebook, because I know and trust these people. I mean, they're my friends, my colleagues, vendors, contractors. So I already have probably at this point, probably 20 or 25 businesses that I'm going to send to you guys for you to reach out to.
Sure. And that makes them appreciate you because they know that someone is looking out for them. It's powerful. And, realtors, I think, should be more involved with the business community instead of just looking for buyers and sellers. I think it's far more organic and authentic to be thinking that we should work together. And, real estate now is far more collaborative based on rates changing and the market shifting so much. It's not at all transactional like it was. People cannot act like divas and they can't be bothered. They're not so adversarial. They have to really work to get to the finish line. And that includes the realtors working with all other sides. I mean, I've come across situations where people wouldn't even talk to each other. And I thought, this must delay the transaction and it makes all the parties really dissatisfied. So why not really work together to get this thing done?
I completely agree. I have some buyer's agents that I work with that don't communicate very well. And it's very frustrating for the sellers or the title company. It's the buyers have had to call the title company to ask me questions because they can't get information from their agent. And I mean, to me, that's sad. It's a huge investment, no matter what the price point is for the buyers, that they need information. So I make sure that I give them everything that they need, even if I have to send it to the title company or to their lender directly, so that they have it for insurance or flood insurance, flood surveys or flood, elevation certificates, just simple things that buyers need that some of the agents are just not doing. And it's really sad.
Well, what the dirty secret of real estate is, a lot of people don't have that much experience and they may not have the confidence to really get involved in the deal, like to deal with a surveyor or to ignore something crazy and to focus on something that's important. A lot of these agents come with these companies without much training and they don't know the next step. They can't outthink someone. So someone in your capacity, where you've had the interest and the confidence and the capacity to get better, that's the person that really you have to connect with. How often do people buy homes now? 7 to 10 years? You have
Sometimes,
to.
I mean, there's some here that, have been here. Some of the homes in Mirror Bay, they've been here since the inception, which is 2002, 2003. So
No,
it
I
just
mean,
depends.
how
Yeah,
often
in
do
general, it's probably
people?
5 to 8 years, I would say.
Right. And they, this is a big deal for them. There's so much stress
Yes, it is.
for first time people, for downsizing people. I mean, I have older folks. The thought of getting out of that house and cleaning that house, boy, I can't even imagine what's going to go on. And
It's
it's a lot.
stressful for the sellers and the buyers. I mean,
Sure.
and you have to learn to have a thick skin and not take it personally because you are the closest to them at that particular moment in the transaction. So they get frustrated and they rant and rave and carry on. And at the end of the day, after everything's done, then they can look back and go, okay, it wasn't so bad. Or it really was horrible, but I'm glad it's over with and I really like where I'm moving. So
Sure. And oftentimes I found that I'm closer to them than family because they're catching me at 9 o'clock, telling me what the family's doing. And I'm the
right.
one that's, their confidant saying, listen, we're closer today than we were yesterday, and give them the good news. And people really, as you know, want to be sure that they're being taken care of. So that constant favorable communication is everything.
Oh, absolutely. Like as an example, today I have a closing. One of my sellers is closing on her house on Friday. And I went and saw her today because she's packing up and moving. And we just kind of chatted on, like the next phase of her life with her kids. And I'm not a big crier, but we both got a little teary eyed and we hugged each other. And, I told her that I would see her and just keep in touch because I also told her about this platform and she's starting a new business venture. So she's somebody I know and trust. So when she gets it up and running, I told her that she needs to definitely reach out to me so that I can help her grow.
Perfect. And, as real estate is not about buildings and houses and apartments and about roofs and walls and floors and doors and windows. It's about people. These are people. And there's, when I was young, I got to tell you, I made some mistakes. As a lawyer in this field, I would think it's purely transactional. It took me not long to have my head handed to me and said, no, these are people. And
Yes.
if it's 9 o'clock at night, it's 9 o'clock at night. And you're really dealing with people who are in an anxious state.
Right.
And it's a real nice thing to make a positive impact for families. And, sometimes there's tragedy that people have to move. Sometimes
Right.
there's unfortunate circumstances that you really have to be there. And you know what? You only can be there if you're good enough to be there. If you don't know what you're doing, it's hard to help anyone.
Right. No, I understand. And I'm, sometimes it's, frustrating for family because I'm, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm already taking phone calls and text messages. 10 and 11 o'clock at night, I'm answering text messages and emailing, home listings to buyers. And so it kind of, sometimes it cuts in on my family time, but I also know that it's important to those people because they are trusting me. So I have, my husband's gotten better with understanding, but every once in a while he's like, okay, Christine, this is movie night. Turn off your phone. You can reach him in the morning. Like he really has to push me to just turn it off for a little while because, they've chosen me and I don't want to let them down.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good point. It's a balance. And what I found is sometimes it's crazy taking the phone call during dinner, making it as short as you can, but also taking some Mondays and Monday afternoons off to be with the family and do important things, take a 3-day weekend, especially in the summer. So
Right.
You really have to balance, you're going to be tougher on yourself than any boss will be, right?
I absolutely am.
Right.
I absolutely am.
And that's successful, and your contacts, I call them, everyone is a sphere and you have your clients and friends and family and local business owners and people in your industry. The problem I've always had with the saying in the real estate industry is market to your sphere. And I say, well, what does that mean? Talk to them about you or give them a chance for them to grow and experience some benefit. All of a sudden, you're their equal. You're not asking, you're not chasing, you're not getting rejected. You're just one of the crowd that's trying to improve on a daily, weekly basis.
Absolutely. One of my hashtags that I use all the time is serving, not just selling.
I like that because you are. Sure.
Absolutely.
I love the hashtag cultivate reciprocity.
Oh,
Where,
that's nice.
I mean,
Yeah,
if
like
you're
that.
doing for others, now, I mean, I'm sure you've dealt with the people that want to work with you. You know, to me, the real estate business is B2B and B2C. The people
Right.
in the lending industry, the title industry that want to work for you with referrals, and then you're dealing with the general population of human beings. If you want people's attention, you have to be relevant to them. And if you're making sure that they're, to me, gaining in a way that's outside your services, that, you know, when you refer a painter to a home, you're not making a buck. You know,
No.
you're not, you're just a resource. Or let's say you're referring a jeweler to a limo company. Look at the connection between jewelry, limos, flowers,
Right.
DJ. That's all in that crazy wedding world. And that's
Yep.
another world that, you know,
Right.
that where they're just in their own planet of just doing things. And look at I mean, we can help them. And I years ago, I would go to bridal shows and make sure I introduce people. And you know what? Now you have access to everyone. To me, benefiting others gives you access.
Absolutely. Because it's not about me, it's about them.
Uh-huh. And they're happy to see you. You're not one of those, you know, your handout. Your hand in your pocket with something to give to them. It's a better way to be. But you know what? It speaks to that scarcity or that abundance mindset. If you realize there's enough out there, and to be honest, steak dinners are expensive. They are scarce. Digital connection like we have right here
Mhm.
is free and it's easy. That's
Right.
why I say, if you're not giving people away something that they value digitally, what are you doing? That's
Nothing.
what
Right.
yeah, it's too hard. The old ways of open houses and lunch and learns, they're fun and I love people, but they're not every day.
No, they're not every day. So this is every day.
This is every day, and your words are recorded. So this is what I consider some of the
Thank
things
you.
that you're. This is not evergreen information because you're talking about
Right.
your market today. What was true during COVID is not true today. But
Absolutely.
working with a trusted professional and seeing how everyone can benefit each other is something that'll live forever.
I agree.
Yeah, well, there's so much going on, and I think that the market changes, like you mentioned before, the concessions, the no more escalation. Look how the power shifted, and realtors have to adjust with that. I mean, I've seen people who are ignoring those conditions, and
Well, I
almost
think a lot of people are ignoring them, not just agents, but buyers and sellers as well.
you can't. I mean, they won't work. You'll set up a deal that won't appraise. You'll set up a deal that the parties are expecting time frames that won't happen. It's you
Right.
know, it's a computer, garbage in, garbage out. It's not going to work.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. Well, you know, Zeke is someone that I reached early. He gave some great information on some interviews and let his agent, referral partners, and his clients and contacts know more about what he did here. That's amazing because he's the lender hosting the group with you, and you're this realtor that hosts and offers so much opportunity for others. One thing we do at PlugIntro is we make sure that the people inside the group are of the firm understanding that this opportunity is provided by you two. And that really keeps you fresh in their mind.
Right.
And that goes for all members.
No, I agree. Yeah, I've met Zeke probably 3 years ago. Yeah, so this is nice that we're actually collaborating together because we live in the same town. You know, it's nice to be able to refer, clients to each other.
And it's supposed to be fun, right? If you
Yeah.
can get the job done and you're dealing with people that you like and respect, it's supposed to be fun. I mean, those are nice victories, having those closings and shaking hands and
Absolutely.
some hugs and kisses.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really nice for the sellers and the buyers to see their faces on closing day. Even the sellers are missing their house because they didn't want to sell it, but they have to for whatever reason. They're happy that it's over with and they can look to the next phase of their life. And the buyer's getting to move into that house that's new to them and all the ideas. And you just listen to them when they're walking around the house during the walkthroughs or the home inspection. Oh, I can put my couch here, or this would be great for our family photos. And oh, I'm going to put my Christmas tree there. That is just, I love that. That is just so fantastic. You can just see their minds spinning on what they're going to do with their lives.
That is true. If you're a people person like yourself, I've heard that many times where they have plans and plans, and can we knock this down? And there was a negative side to that, because I've seen closings, some old folks, and now they want to rip out Johnny's, carpeting, and that's where he, everything about their lives they want to treat it. So I've actually cautioned people, let's keep your plans outside of the seller's ears. They don't want their house changed up that much. So you have to be sensitive, but it is energy. And you know what? A lot of people are not crying for sellers these days, because they bought the house for 80 grand and now they're 600. So they didn't really work for that money. They basically inherited it based on the market condition.
Yeah, it was gifted to them.
Right. Well, they did the right thing. They paid the mortgage and they paid the taxes and kept it in great shape. So they look at the opportunity that they realized. They did the right thing and let the market work for them. Do you think based on these conditions we'll have much appreciation? That's my concern. Whoever buys today is not going to get any appreciation.
Our values are still increasing here, though. They're still going up. So, I mean, like a house that just sold a year ago, before after, well, not even a year ago, probably over the summer, their home value has already increased from the time they purchased it. Not all of them, but it depends on the house. The amenities. Is it on the water? Does it have a pool and a dock? Values are still increasing in Tampa. Well, we're full. Florida is full, by the way, but our values are still increasing.
Florida's full, no coming back. I hear you, but I was reading that one of the economists for the NAR, National Association of Realtors, said that there probably has to be a shift in the mindset where for many, many decades of the 20th century, homes did not appreciate. The home was your home for holidays and growing up. And fortunately, the mortgage interest deduction and the taxes were always a benefit to your tax deductions. So really, it was a way that you could do better than renting and have a life. There were 2 or 3 sporadic, and this was one of them, of course, but there was the other one in the 2007-8 or the 2004 to 2008. And you know what happened there. But it took until 2012 or 13 to get back to those values.
Right.
This economist was saying that maybe you should just think of your home as a place to live and a place to improve your financial condition, and not think that it's trading shares on Wall Street.
Right.
He thinks that there has to be a shift in the mindset where it may not appreciate.
Right. No, I mean, I do agree, because even the people, like some of the people that have moved down to Florida, from the Northeast and the West Coast, they bought high because of COVID. Their homes have increased since they purchased. And now they're like, well, I really don't like my home. I just wanted to get out of California or New York or whatever and move to Florida. So I'm going to sell my house and maybe move, further south. So but they're banking on the increase that they've gotten since they moved here. And not like a lot of people, their home hasn't appreciated as much as they thought it would over the 2-year span. So it just depends on, and they need to understand that they want to put the house on the market. It's not worth what they think it is, and they're a little upset about it because
right. I think that's going to happen, and I think that it would really be if rates went down a lot like they were, they'd have a shot at that kind of appreciation. But because they went up, which really hurt, and now back a little bit more reasonable. I think that there's people ask me, I say, you know what? I think conservative way to say it is we are pretty much at the top.
Yes.
You need a place to live, and you have your interest rate on rent is 100%, so it doesn't do any good for you, right? That you've heard Correct. That being said.
Yes.
So that's where we are. If you've bought and sold before, this might be your last stop.
Right. I mean, some of them, they're going to end up breaking even if they sell right now when they bought, a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Right.
If they're going to sell.
That's what I think. I think that we're not going to have these run-ups, and maybe never again. You don't know what's going to happen with the government and the rest of it.
Yeah, we can't predict the future. I mean, thankfully, we live in the number 1 market in the country, Tampa. So, we have a lot of we have a lot more options and a greater chance of increase in values than other areas around the country, because everybody wants to live here. Supply and demand.
Well, between the sports and the beaches and the airports and the proximity to Disney, and it's just you're living inside a vacation. You live where
Absolutely.
people
Yes,
go.
we live where everybody else vacations.
Yeah, kind of cool, right?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, behind my camera, I'm looking out my window to a canal and palm trees. So, yeah, I absolutely love it.
Right. And all the entire tourism industry is helping you out with people. And then they come and say, wow, January is terrible in Boston. We hate it. Can we buy here, honey? And they see if
Yep,
they can.
that's what
Oh, wow.
happens. The
That's nice.
snowbirds come down from the Northeast in Canada and they buy rental, vacation homes, and then they go back up there and they don't like it. So they sell that and move down here full time, or they get a second one, for their kids or whatever. Yeah, it's interesting, the dynamics that go on in Florida because, everybody wants to be where we live. So,
Yeah, that really is the truth. I remember in 1982, I went down, I think it was my first plane trip to see my grandparents, and it was freezing in New York. And I got down, it was that great feeling when the plane opens and you have that humidity versus the Antarctica. New York's not as bad as Boston, but New York
yeah.
can get cold.
No, I was born and raised in Connecticut, so I get it.
I think there's a great glimpse of what you offer as a professional and your insight as to the market and your perspectives on the trends. What's your phone number? What's the best way for anyone to get in touch with you?
813-922-1033. Best way is to text me because if I'm with a client, I don't want to be rude to them and answer the phone. So,
of course, texting is the communication these days, of course. Fantastic job. And let's connect. And I'm really happy we got to launch your interview series. It's going to be a real benefit to everyone involved.
Me too. I'm so excited for everybody else that's going to be doing this after me.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to seeing all my friends grow.
I think you're the model user. Let's make you the Florida model user.
Perfect. Sign me up.
Okay. You are signed up. Thanks, Christine.
I know.
You take care.
I know. It just sounds fun to say. That's all.
Okie dokie. Take care.
All right. Thank you. It was nice meeting you.
You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.